Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we're at a slightly different angle because I can be bothered to set up my usual filming so you can have a view of my lovely messy bedroom. But today's video is very incredibly exciting, but you can probably tell I've got my Bridge 4 top on and I have a very exciting parcel. So I'm like shaking. I'm so excited. So yeah, so I thought I would open it on camera just for fun. Oh, it's hardback. Okay, so I have a Rhythm of War. I'm gonna cry. I've got the little thing that says, yeah, so I'm not allowed to do any spoilers or anything until the 17th of November, but that's amazing. Okay, this is like my favourite series ever and I just love it so much and I'm so thankful. I mean, it's not that early, it's like 10 days early, but that's still like so exciting to me. It's so chunky. Was it like, yeah, 1,200 pages, which is insane. I can't believe I have it. So I'm just so excited and yeah. Okay, so I have actually, so this is gonna be a non-spoilery vlog because obviously I might put it up like just before release date or something. So, and I guess if you're not interested in the Stormlight Archive but you just want to see me freaking out over my favourite book, then maybe you will want to watch it. So yeah, this won't be spoilery. I have read the first 10 chapters already because they were like released on the website and I'm so engaged already. I really want to know like what direction it's going to go in, and I'm so worried for Kaladin because he's in so much pain, but I forgot like how much I love him. So I'm really intrigued so far. I don't think much of like the forward plot has happened, but I mean, it's a huge book and like, I don't think you would expect like any plot things to go. And I forgot the illustrations. This is so exciting that I have a finished copy. I'm insanely excited. I'm just gonna go and, I can't even calmly freak out. I'm gonna like insanely freak out. Okay, okay, let's see what it looks like naked because I'm gonna read it, so it's a bit boring, but I will. Yeah, just I'm so excited. Okay, so I've got to I've finished part 1, so I'm now up to part 2, although I haven't read the interludes yet. And I think so part 1 is basically all the chapters that are going to be released up until release date. So if you've been reading along with the chapters, then you'll have essentially read part 1, which is kind of cool because that's like a decent like chunk of the book. And I've got my little markers, so these are all the parts, like part 1, 2, 3, 4. No, part 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't put a marker in for part 1 because that's just the beginning. And also I feel like because it's such a huge book, it helps me to read it, to like break it down into 5 little books. So it's like, oh, I've already finished a book because I finished part 1. So yeah, no, I'm really loving it. I feel like this maybe has the potential to be my favourite Stormlight book. I don't know, I'm just finding it so interesting, like the kind of topics it's exploring and also the characters we're following. So kind of we're following like all our like familiar characters, but also the focus is now more on some of the other characters that we've only seen a little bit of in the past, or slash some new characters which we haven't had a lot of so far, but I feel like they could become bigger characters. So that's really exciting because I feel like it's interesting to get like new perspectives on the world, and I think it just makes it a kind of richer world, which is exciting. And I don't know, I just find myself getting attached to the characters like so easily. Like even the villainous characters, I get attached to them. And so yeah, I'm just really enjoying it so far. It's hard to talk about like without spoilers. It's probably, I don't even feel like I have that much to talk about with spoilers. But yeah, so I'm up to part 1 and just like moments with characters that like I love, and yeah, so I'm just really enjoying it so far. And I think it's a pretty solid start. Like sometimes Sanderson books have quite a slow start, but this one there's quite a lot of like action, especially like right at the beginning. But I feel like Oathbringer was kind of similar to that. Well, I don't know, with like Kaladin going to Hearthstone and when he like parts the storm. That was one of my favourite bits in Oathbringer. I love that. So yeah, so that's my thoughts so far. Okay, so this next update has nothing to do with Rhythm of War, but after weeks of putting it off, I have finally persuaded myself to watch the ending. Wait, there we go. Oh, I don't know how to do the camera. Watch the ending of Haunting of Bly Manor, and I've been putting off the ending because I've heard it's painful, and I had like 20 minutes of the final episode left, and it just ended in a happy place. So I was like, I'm just gonna leave it there. But I feel like for completion, I have to finish it. And I feel like I'm emotionally ready now. So I don't know why I'm doing this to myself and reading Rhythm of War at the same time. But I am. So I'm going to watch that, and then I'm going to read more of Rhythm of War this evening. I'm hoping, this is very ambitious, but maybe I can read part 2. Hopefully that would be good. And yes, and I also wanted to talk about Dawn Shard, which is the novella which was like dropped last night. And I didn't actually back the Kickstarter, but I was very fortunate that someone sent it to me, so I got to read it. And I loved it so much. It's so worth reading. So it's like a novella similar to Edge Dancer, and it takes place between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. And it follows Rhtyhm? I'm not quite sure how you say his name. And it's basically, they like are going on like a journey to this like mystical island where there's this like mysterious treasure. And so a lot of it takes place at sea, which I love. I love like piratey books or books that take place on the sea. And as they're going to this island, like creepy things start happening on the ship. And honestly, it's better than a lot of like thrillers and mysteries I've read. Like all these things start happening, you're like, oh, what's going on? And then there's so much like Cosmere lore, and then the new characters that we meet are so good. I love Rhtyhm. She's amazing, and just her whole journey. She doesn't have any function in her legs either. I don't know if the term paraplegic is used or if that's hemiplegic. Ugh, medicine. Who knew I had a degree in it? But anyway, so yeah, and I thought that was done so well. I mean, obviously I'm not, so I can't really speak to that, but in my opinion it was respectful, and it didn't feel like it was condescending in any way. It felt, I didn't feel like there was a focus on like the community, and Rhtyhm would like find these other people in similar situations, and she would get to have like a community with them, and I thought that was really nice. And then and also just like her journey, and I just thought that was so good. And then we follow other characters as well. Cord, I ship Rhtyhm and Cord so much. Their like whole dynamic, it's kind of like the like bodyguard trope. Cord's like her bodyguard. I just love it. And then there's Rushu, who's like this like scholar, and she's so funny. And then obviously we have Lopen, or the Lopen, and he wasn't my favourite character in the novella, but he's so funny, and I thought his kind of arc was so good, and it was interesting, and I think he learned a lot about that maybe some people find jokes offensive. Yeah, so no, I love Dawn Shard so much. And yeah, just the whole storyline and finding out more about the Cosmere, and it's just, it's so good. I would so recommend it. So my plan for this evening is to watch the end of Bly Manor and then read more of Rhythm of War. Okay, a short update just to say how much I love Adeline. Oh, I just love him so much. Oh, he's so precious. I'm just like a mother hen. Yeah, I just wanted to say how much I love him. And I feel like I've seen some reviews which have said they were hoping his character would go in a certain direction and it didn't, but actually I think the way his character is going fits it very well. I don't know, it just seems like it's going in the right direction that I would want. Maybe it's just me because I have quite a wholesome soul, so yeah, but yeah, oh, I just love him. Yeah, okay, that's it. Okay, update time. I'm sorry for the shaky cam because I'm holding it in my hand, but I keep tearing up just over the most mundane thing. So one of the characters whose name rhymes with Thornblessed, his character is going in a direction that just is making me cry. It's just so close to my heart, and it's so unexpected, but it's also like the perfect, oh, I'm gonna cry. It's also just like the perfect direction, and oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, I don't really know how far I'm in, like 350 pages, but oh. Okay, so I just finished part 2 of Rhythm of War. I forgot what book I was reading. And I think this might be a sweeping statement because I've just read it, but I think part 2 of Rhythm of War might be my favourite part, like individual part of any Stormlight book ever. Oh, I just loved it. It's so good, and I'm just so excited to see what's happening, and oh, just, yeah, it's so hard to talk about it, like, non-spoilery, but I just love it. And also the little tidbits at the start of the chapter, because in every Stormlight book, at the start of each chapter, there's like a little passage, and sometimes it's like quotes from a book in the world, or sometimes it's like random quotes said by people, or sometimes it's like other things, and these ones are just, I got so excited about that, so I'm really loving that as well. And just, oh yeah, I'm just loving it, and I feel like that's all I can really say. But yeah, and I've seen some criticism of the pacing as well, but I haven't seen that so far. Maybe I'm still like at the beginning, but I mean, I'm like 550 pages in, and so far it's been like really keeping me engaged, and yeah, there's just a lot going on. I think it does, but I think it does this in other Stormlight books as well. So I feel like if you've read the series, then you're kind of expecting it, like, you follow some characters for a bit and then you kind of leave them, and then you follow other characters for a bit and then you kind of leave them. And I think especially so in this one, and also in kind of same in with The Way of Kings, you kind of be following a character for a bit and then they'll sort of go off and you have a focus on a different place. But I actually prefer that kind of style, especially for such a long book, because I think if you just chop, like, I like it in like kind of clusters, rather than when sometimes I think I've read books where there's a lot of POVs and they're very like chop and changey, and then I feel like it gets a bit lost because sometimes you want to kind of just follow one story for a bit, and then, so I quite like that. Yeah, we haven't got any flashbacks yet, which is interesting because I think we are getting some, but yeah, there haven't been any of those yet, so that's interesting. And I just said interesting like 10 times. So yeah, that's my update so far. We'll just leave it there. Okay, so I have some more thoughts. So I was gonna update originally at like the end of every part, but I'm only about like 2/3 of the way through part 2. But I had a lot of thoughts, so I wanted to update now. So I'm like, how far am I in? 460 pages, and ooh, there's some juicy things happening. There's like a few revelations that have been brought to light, which is very intriguing, and one of them is kind of similar to something that happens in Mistborn, but like I'm a complete sucker for it, so you know, I was like eating it up. But also, oh, Haviland, I love him so much, and oh, he's such a little himbo. Yeah, and I think I already talked about Kaladin in my last update, but I just love the direction his character is going in, and it just fits him so well. And I feel like this book, yeah, I wanted to talk about how it feels like it's going in like a kind of almost like a fresh new direction. Like, I think I can say this because it's in the synopsis. It says in the synopsis that it's an arms race, and that's very much what it feels like. So it feels like the focus is more on kind of making discoveries rather than like battles and war, which I think is good because it's a huge series, and if every book was just like a repeat of the first one where they're just constantly having like battles and clashes, I think it would get kind of boring. I don't know, I feel like that's a bit almost tired fantasy. Like, I feel like the kind of more innovative stuff is really interesting, and I feel like that's what this book is doing. But I can see some people not liking that, and I think for me, I really like it because I'm quite sciencey and I love like finding new stuff and like discovering more about the world. You definitely get a lot about Rhtyhm and just finding out more and like unraveling mysteries and things like that. I'm really interested in all the POVs. I think, I don't know, it feels like we're getting the like female characters time to shine, which is always good. And I saw some like, I don't know if they're criticisms exactly, but some comments yesterday which were about, and I guess I can't really comment on this fully yet till I've finished it, but saying how the character focuses are kind of shifted. So like there's not as much of the kind of original like main three, and I think that's, I don't know, I feel like if all the books in like a gigantic 10-book series just followed all the same characters, it would get kind of boring. I don't know, I like having new characters to like attach myself to and start caring about, and I feel like I know some people don't always like Sanderson characters, but I always love them. So like new characters I always get really attached to, and yeah, I love like finding out more about them, and I think it just adds so much more to the story. We still have the characters you like know and love. There's one character who has kind of dropped off the face of Rhtyhm, but to be honest, I don't mind that much. But I'll be interested to see whether like my thoughts change. But so far, I'm really loving it, and it just feels like, yeah, like I said, it feels kind of more like almost quieter. Like there's still action stuff going on, but like it doesn't feel like it's almost leading up to a big battle. And I've heard there isn't a Sander launch or whatever it's called at the end of it, so I'd be interested to see like how the ending plays out. But I think like it's not going in an unexpected direction, I would say, but it's definitely going in kind of an innovative direction. I think it's interesting. So yeah, so they're my thoughts so far. Okay, so update time. So I just finished part 3. I had to think then. So I've read this much and have this much left. I'm getting so near the end, it's so sad. Oh, I can't believe I'm gonna have to wait like another 3 years or something. But yeah, oh. I just love it so much. So, I mean, obviously I love the Stormlight Archive, so it's not really a surprise, and I am hugely biased. But yeah, I just love this installment. I don't think it's gonna be everyone's favourite, and I don't think it's like objectively the best in the series, but I just love it because it has so many things that are like close to my heart, and it's like really sciencey, which I love, and just the kind of like discovering like the world and stuff and finding out more about that. And just all that, I feel like that meme which is like women, that's how I feel when I'm reading it. Oh, and there's this new character that I'm pretty sure we haven't met in any of the other books, and I'm just like, oh, step on me please. But yeah, so that's so good. And then yeah, so I think Sanderson said there's like 3 different clusters in this book, and one of the clusters is just my favourite like plot line of any Stormlight book. It's just so good. I don't even know why I like it so much. It's just the kind of setting and the vibes, it's just immaculate. But yeah, one of them, so yeah, part 3 was definitely, there was quite a lot of like kind of world building and like lore we were finding out more about, which is very interesting. And I think in this book the kind of stakes are quite different from other books. I think I said this before in a different clip, but like it's not like the kind of battles and that kind of thing, like it's not like heart pounding like fight scenes. It's more sort of, like knowledge and a race for knowledge, and whoever like unlocks these secrets is kind of the thing, and that's kind of more where the stakes lie. And I think that's interesting and it's different, but I don't think it means there's less stakes. I think it just means they're different, and I think it's very interesting, and you kind of get really invested in, like, I don't know if it's just because I'm really sciencey and I love like experiments and stuff, and I think that's really cool, but I think it's just really interesting. And also, and I think that is a big theme of the Stormlight Archive, because it's like there's a lot of kind of history missing, and that's what they're really trying to discover. And I think this is definitely a book of discovery. I think that's a good way to describe it. And so I read the interludes at the end of part 3, and this is the cutest interlude in existence. Oh, it's so precious. And also there was another interlude from another character. His characters have always been my favourite interludes to read from, but just some information. Oh, it's just so precious. So yeah, they're good. I feel like the interludes have been really strong in this book, because I feel like I remember in The Way of Kings I was like, nah, why are the interludes here? But I feel like in this one they're really good. I've been really liking them. Like, all the characters are very relevant that are included, so that's good. And yeah, just so cute. So yeah, I'm really excited to read more, and I have actually read the first chapter of part 4, and so we've started, oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention, so we've started getting flashbacks, which is really interesting. And I think it's interesting, like, what kind of information we're getting from the flashbacks, and the contrast with Vinny's character then and now, I think is really interesting. So yeah, the flashbacks are definitely intriguing. So yeah, and I feel like they help my understanding of events in prior books as well, which is good. And also, I'm sorry this vlog is kind of boring, it's just clips of me reading, but I feel like my life's quite boring. I don't know. What have I done today? Well, oh yeah, so I was on the wards this morning, but then we had like a free afternoon, we could like study or like do ward work or whatever, but I just decided to stay in and read. So I was a bit naughty, but I mean, exams are a long time away and I have plenty of time to catch up. I feel like for now Rhythm of 4 is more important. Okay, I'm sorry if you're watching this, Granny. Okay, so that's the update for now. So I'll probably see you again tomorrow, because I'll probably update at the end of part 4, unless something like really dramatic happens and I have to have another crying session. Okay, short interlude before bed, but we just found out the name of we just found out the relevance of the name of the book, so what Rhythm of War is, and it's so exciting. I feel like revelations are really starting to like come to light now, and just things are starting to like click and make sense, and it's just so exciting. But I'm really tired and I need to go to bed because I need to be up early tomorrow. So yes, so I'm going to try and finish tomorrow evening, I think, and then hopefully I can get this vlog up on Wednesday, so we'll see. Okay, I've made it nearly to the end of part 4, so it's just the last little bit left. So I'm just humming to the rhythm of excitement. But yeah, there's so much like stuff getting like discovered and revealed, and like secrets are coming to light, and like stuff in prior books that we didn't know about. Stuff in prior books that we didn't know about is like kind of getting explained, which is good. I feel that's not really a spoiler to say, is it? I hope not. But yeah, and there's this potential for this sapphic relationship. It's never gonna happen, I know it's not, but it just, I ship them so hard, and maybe on a distant planet. But no, yeah, it's so good. I'm loving it. So I'm gonna try and finish tonight. I've got like, I don't know, 200 pages left, which is actually quite a lot, so maybe I won't be able to finish it, but hopefully. Okay, update time. So I have my evening hot chocolate and I have the book, and then you have you can't even see it, and you have a teeny bit left. So I have less than 100 pages left. So what I thought I'm gonna do is wrap up some of my like main thoughts now, and then, because I'll probably be a bit tired later because I'm trying to plan on finishing it, so then I can just like scream at the camera for my reaction to the last bit. But yeah, so the kind of, oh yeah, so I feel like a major theme in this book is like relationships between like parents and children, and like a lot of the kind of, there's a lot of that like with different characters, and I think that's really interesting, and that's something that makes me really emotional. Like there's a scene that just I was like almost tearing up, and it's not even a character that, well, I mean it's me, so but it's like, yeah, and yeah, oh, I just love it so much. But I'm gonna try and be a little bit objective and talk about maybe some of those like kind of disadvantages, but I don't really think they're disadvantages. But yeah, so just things I would have maybe liked like more of. So obviously I guess this is something that I always want more of with Sanderson books, but that's LGBT rep. And there's just there's potential. I think I talked about this earlier, but there's just such good potential. But yeah, I know it's never gonna happen. But yeah, I would definitely like to see more of that. There was a few like hints maybe sprinkled in, and I think we will see more of it down the line. But yeah, I would have liked a bit more of that in this one. So there's this kind of, and the like characters, they're split into like 3 clusters, and one of the clusters I was like really invested in, and that was like my favorite, definitely my favorite storyline, probably my favorite storyline in like any Stormlight book. But the other 2 ones, I obviously really enjoyed reading them because like I love the characters, but they did feel more like kind of set up almost for the next book rather than like they were like, they did have, well, one of them had like a contained storyline, but the other one definitely felt like kind of set up. But that's fine because I like following the characters. But and this is like the 4th book, so I feel like it's kind of a preparatory book, is that a word? Yeah, and this definitely felt more similar to like The Way of Kings in terms of the characters are quite separate. So like I did miss a little bit of the like group dynamic they kind of get in Oathbringer. But that being said, there was actually, we got to see some kind of different dynamics in this book, like interactions between characters that maybe you wouldn't expect, and that's really like, I really like that. It's quite like refreshing, I guess, and you get an interesting like dynamic between some characters. And yeah, and there's this new like power trio who I just love. Oh, yeah, I need fan art. There's so many moments that I just need fan art of so badly. But yeah, I actually think the pacing in this one is probably his best in the Stormlight book. Like, it starts off strong, and then I felt like it just carried on strong all the way through. Like, there wasn't really a time when I got bored, probably because I like the characters so much. It definitely is quite long, and I mean, I don't have a problem with that, like I said. But I mean, it probably could have been shorter, but I mean, I'll just eat up whatever I can get. But yeah, so that's another thing. It probably could have been a bit shorter, but I mean, I'm not complaining. I'd read it if it was 2,000 pages, but
I haven't even finished yet, but I'm an emotional wreck. I'm crying. I don't cry very often because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like medication I'm on or something, but I love Kaladin so much. Oh. This book just emphasizes, like, he's truly my favourite character in fiction, and I just think he's amazing. I love him. And there's this scene that just really broke me, and it's not even that sad, but it's just so emotional and I can't wait for everyone to read it. But I'm an emotional wreck. I've still got like 50 pages left. But the ending's so intense. But that's my tear that fell on the page. So I've now destroyed my book.
Okay, so I have finished Rhythm of War. So big. And I did it in like 5 days, so I think that's pretty impressive. But I mean, I wasn't maybe as good a student as I should have been, but I can catch up on studying now. And this was my priority, obviously. So yeah, I just loved it so much. 5 stars, obviously. And the ending, oh, there's so much like exciting stuff, and it's made me so excited for the next book in this series. So yeah, so that's exciting, and just like, yeah, finding out more about Rhtyhm and the Cosmere, and it's all so exciting. And I can't believe we have to wait like 3 or 4 years for the next book. The wait's too long. But yeah, I loved reading it. Like, I think I said this in a different clip, but by far and away my favourite character is Kaladin. I love him so much, like just so much. He was always my favourite character, like when I first read them. And I mean, I do love Adolin, but Kaladin's definitely like, he's like my favourite, and like my favourite character in like all the fiction. And I just love him. And just his like arc in this book is just fantastic. And his like journey, and so, and yeah, I really enjoyed the like kind of themes, and I feel like you get it in all the Stormlight books, like with the Radiance and the kind of like mental health kind of struggles and how they kind of influence events, and I think it's really interesting. So yeah, this was a great installment. I mean, I love all the Stormlight books. I don't know where I'd rank this one. I like, at the moment it's my favourite because I just read it. But I think I would have to reread them to like know what order I would actually put them in. So that's it for the vlog. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm gonna have like a book talk video go up like maybe in a few weeks after it's out, with like spoilery and non-spoilery sections, just to talk about some of my thoughts on some tidbits that are in here. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you next time. Also, pre-order Rhythm of War if you haven't already.